All right, welcome back to 93 Ticket Bigger the Score. Looking forward to the next segment. We got two scholar athletes here that are kind of riding off into the sunset a little bit. They're not quite done yet, but we've got Rylan Smith, who is a senior at Lincoln Southwest High School. He'll tell you a little bit about himself, and then Cole Haywood, who is a also a senior scholar over at Lincoln High School. So, how you all doing
I'm doing good. How are you?
today? Fantastic. You wait now. I know it's a little bit early. Had a long weekend here a little bit, but glad to have you both here. And so I'm going to start with you, Scholar Haywood. Tell us a little bit about who you are, your journey, where you went to school. Have you always been in Lincoln?
Yeah, so like Pete said, I'm a senior at Lincoln High School. I went to elementary school, Lux Middle School, and then I did 2 years over at East High School. At Lincoln High, I played varsity volleyball, varsity basketball, and on the varsity track team.
Okay, making it happen. So like, we never bring anybody in here that has extra time. I got to tell you, one time we're going to get somebody here is like school. That's what I do. How about you, Rylan?
I'm also a senior. I go to Lincoln Southwest. Um, uh, for elementary school, I went to Beatty Elementary, and then I went over to Scott, and then now I'm at Lincoln Southwest.
Okay. Okay. Fantastic. So, tell us a little bit, your athletic. I mean, we'll get into some of the other things, but just a little bit about your athletic journey. So, Scott, hey, what you talked about, you're in, multiple different things. I've known your family for a little bit. So, like, what spurred your interest to be involved in sports?
Yeah, so growing up, I was put into literally every single sport. We did soccer, basketball, volleyball, and volleyball kind of just stuck with me. I did club volleyball up until I was 18. So we went to those club
Okay.
tournaments every weekend. We
So
would travel.
President's Day, you know
Yeah.
about this weekend. You're just
Oh my
like,
gosh,
yeah.
the biggest tournament ever. So yeah, we did that. And basically, I just started playing basketball this year, kind of just immersed myself in something different. The diversity at Lincoln High is great. So I just wanted to be a part of that. Growing up, I went to East High School, so I was playing volleyball for East, and I had a knee injury my first year, so that kind of put me like that gave me a big setback into my volleyball career. But just kind of getting back training again and finding the love again for the sport, that's kind of what my journey has been, just finding myself again with volleyball. And then once I did, I committed to Hastings College. So
Okay, go
yeah,
Broncos now. I gotta tell Rico, he probably listening or whatever else. He's a Carney fan, but we got a good one. So excited for you to be out there at Hastings College. A little bit, just you talked about like you get involved in different things, and so you got that knee injury. Was volleyball always kind of at the front, basketball, track, or something else?
yeah, my dad wishes basketball was at the front, but yeah, growing up, volleyball has always been the one that like I knew that I was gonna play in college. Volleyball was always ahead of all the other sports, but it's nice now that's my senior year to like do other stuff. So yeah.
Awesome, fantastic. And so, Rylan, known your family for quite a while, but kind of what's been your kind of athletic journey?
So when I was younger, I also played three sports. I played basketball, soccer, and baseball. As a young kid, I would definitely stress play as many sports as you can, um, and interact with as many people and build relationships. But then when I got to high school, I kind of just focused on basketball. Um, I've also had some injuries. Just this last summer, I tore my meniscus. That kind of set me back a little bit, but I'm healthy now, and it's been good.
Yeah, so you talked about like both of you talked about like exploring a variety of different things, whether it be athletics or multi-involved. I know you also in the past have been part of the youth rally and you've done service learning. I know Cole, you've been involved in some of that. I've seen some of the posts and things that you guys have been engaged in. But you both have something in common. You talked a little bit about injuries. And so talk about like, most people come in and talk about all the success that you have. And I want to share a little bit about that. You're the all-time leading scorer at Southwest and assist leader. I think you just accomplished that this weekend. And I know you don't do that all alone. You're very humble and want to share that with your teammate and coaches. But what's that like navigating through the highs and lows of being just a scholar and also being an athlete, Riley?
Um, Someone told me a quote that once stuck with me is that you're gonna have a lot of ups and downs, but it's how you handle adversity and how you handle your ups and downs that make you the person that you become. So I say through the good and the bad, you always have to, I say get up the next day and put in the work, um, and kind of just it kind of shows who you are, battling adversity, through the highs and the lows.
Well, and it definitely has seen you, like, take those on, um, and, sometimes it's not easy. It's not easy sitting there watching other people do what you know that you've mastered and you've put the time and the effort and the work in, and so, Nicole, you talked about having a serious knee injury.
Mhm.
I remember, that occurring. I wasn't there, but I remember, your father and having that kinda conversation and kinda just like, "Man, like, she's done everything right." Like, talk about that journey and what that was like.
Yeah, so it was like my first game my freshman year, and I just remember I was gonna swing varsity that day,
Mm,
and I was really nervous because I'm just a freshman. So
right,
in my head, I was like, "Oh, I gotta jump as high as I can. I gotta kill this ball," because it was just warm ups.
right,
So I jumped up and came down. I completely blew out my knee, everything in it. So it was really a bittersweet pill to swallow because, like you said, I've been putting in the work like all summer long. I was in there, like I got my spot and everything, and in the moment of seconds, it was kind of just taken from me. It was hard because I had to get surgery. I was out for like a month from school, so I was behind in school my freshman year. And I think like your freshman year is really important, and people say that it might not be as important, but it is. So I was behind in school because of that, and it just kinda set me back from all my other players while they were getting really good. I was watching them get really good,
right.
and I'm like, "Dang," like, obviously, I'm gonna support, but it was just hard being there because you're like, "Oh, you put in all this work," and, it's just kinda taken back from it, but then after that injury, it was like, "Wow, I wanna put all my time into volleyball, I wanna play it," just because you don't wanna take that time for granted, so yeah.
Wow, and I can appreciate both of you when you talked about, and Harris and I are both like shaking our head, like your first seconds,
Yeah.
and what you said is it's just in a second things can be taken away, and how much more now. I think both of you all are appreciating, all those moments that you get. You're on 93.7 The Ticket, bigger than the score, and we've got two scholar athletes, Rylan Smith from Lincoln Southwest High School, and Nicole Haywood, who's at Lincoln High School, and they're just kind of sharing their journey and their moments. And so, Nicole, you talked about a couple things of just that preparation. What goes into it mentally as well as physically, as you kind of prepare for different moments, and whether it be, you never kind of prepare for injury, but what goes into the preparation for success, and then how do you handle when you're hurt?
Yeah, so I'd say, like, getting your mind right, kind of locking in. Um, when I did get hurt, it was kind of hard to, fight those negative thoughts. I feel like sometimes it kind of immersed me with them. I was kind of like, "Dang," I was mad at the world, kind of
Mm,
like, "Why me?" But then kind of now taking a step back out of it, but just kind of like when you're losing a volleyball game, losing a game, losing a match, you wanna always stay positive because you never know, like, in a blink of an eye, things can change. So that's what I would just say, like, even, like, when I'm going and playing volleyball now, we had a tough season this year, so it was kind of like getting the girls prepared, staying positive always because it's kinda just getting me ready for the future and ready for other volleyball games in the future.
wow, awesome. Rylan, kind of a switch, like, talk about just, mentorship. We've talked a little bit about success and injury and things like that, but what role does that play, and has that played in your, I'd say, career, but also in your life?
It plays a big part. I've had mentors, kinda like my mom and my stepdad, but I'm also trying to be a mentor for the youth too, because I know that the ideas people share with me, I wanna spread down to the youth, and I know us high school athletes are always being watched, by the young kids, so just putting a good example out there on the court, kinda showing them, you know 'cause I know when I was younger, I'd go to high school games and I'd look at the people on the court and I'd be like, "I wanna be like them," or I'd always watch how they would act, so I'd say, I kinda wanna be that good example too.
So for those that are kind of wondering, I mean, I also always want to give like tangible examples. What does that look like? What are characteristics or things that you look for, and then you hope that you're putting out there for others?
Um, how you carry yourself is a big thing, your body language is huge, you gotta have good body language. Your body language, says it all, on the court, so you always wanna have good body language and how you treat people really.
Right.
Um, you don't wanna be taunting other people or getting in their face. You wanna treat people with respect, just like how you wanna be treated.
Yeah, and I think that's important, not just on the court, but we talk about also just bigger than that score. It's like how you walk through the halls, how you're, when you're at your job or, in the greater community, because people do recognize you outside of that. And both the involvements that you are in, we always say kind of football, your face is kind of hidden. That's kind of the worst NIL opportunity, unless you're like the running back or whatever else. But they see you. Like they physically get to see all aspects of you, and so you can't hide your facial expressions with what you're doing. So, Nicole, a little bit like some mentors that you've had in your life.
Yeah, I'd say my parents are definitely one of the biggest mentors. They're taking me to all these volleyball
Mm,
tournaments. They've always been my biggest supporters. And then I'd also say Mr. Anderson over at Lincoln High School. He was my first African American teacher. He taught at Lux for a little bit and then jumped ships over to Lincoln High. So
okay.
I was without him for a couple years, but
You
we
said,
made our
"Hey,
way
I gotta
back.
find her. I gotta find where she at. Okay, that's where I'm applying."
Yep. So, and he's just done a really good job with equity at Lincoln High School. We've been doing like student led panels and stuff like that. And I'd say that he's really been a big part of that, like inclusion up in Lincoln
Right.
High. So I'd say he's been a good mentor for me.
So again, a great point that you brought up, and we've heard it, throughout. Kind of representation matters. I mean, we had a Don Martinez, we've had Erica Kirkland talk about that with her cheerleading squad at Lincoln High. Naya Seymour at Southwest. I want to ask you both, kind of not just because it's Black History Month, but just because it's been part of your journey. So, what's it been like being an athlete of color? In Lincoln, Nebraska, and to respective school, whether it be club, whether it be all the things you've experienced. And so, Rylan, I want to start with you and your experience, and then Nicole, I want to have you kind of share.
I've always kinda tried to, embrace the experience. Like I said, we're always being watched, so, kinda putting that, like, good, you know, that you're being seen out there, and take it as a good way and embrace it for the younger kids, but also, um, to know that there was people before you and kinda have their respects for them too.
Yeah, and I think what you said is just that opportunity. I think sometimes people are like, oh, there's a lot of weight on your shoulders as you go forward. But you talk about those people that have come before you, the Albert Maxis. If you think about, you go down Walter Payton, Jackie Robinson's, Serena Williams. But there's also a lot of tremendous opportunities for success that comes with that. Nicole, what's that been like for you when you think about volleyball? My daughter plays, and I know what it's like going to a lot of those tournaments. It's there's not a lot of us
Yeah.
present, and it's not that we can't play and we don't have success, but what's that journey been like for you as a female?
Yeah, so in volleyball, there isn't that much diversity. I've gone from like club teams where I'm the only Black
Right,
woman. So it has been a little bit hard. Like you said, representation does matter. So now that I'm at Lincoln High, like I was kind of immersed in a whole bunch of diversity on the volleyball team. Not as much as I probably would have hoped to, but still more than like I ever had growing up. So it kind of just gave me more of like I was kind of in my comfort zone a little bit more. Like I felt like I could make mistakes and not get taken out of the game right away.
right,
Where like maybe I might have done that at East and stuff like that. But I feel like I've been getting more opportunities over at Lincoln High School. Maybe that is the color of my skin and there's more people that look like me. But other than that, like honestly, like just giving the opportunity to have success. So
right. And I think that's one of the most important things is you always want to provide the opportunity for individuals to have success. And I think that's ultimately most important. Rylan, talk about like what your future looks like. What does that look like for you? You both experienced senior night, and share a little bit, like, was that surreal? Was that something you were like, I never thought that was gonna come, and then you're walking out there and you're like, dang, I'm the person that I saw everybody else doing. It's like, that's never gonna be me. And they're calling your name and your stats and your future. What was that like?
Yeah, it was surreal. It hasn't hit yet, but, it
I
w
got video, so it's
yeah,
real. It's real. I got
it was
video.
crazy 'cause, I've been on the varsity basketball team since I was a freshman, so I've kind of watched, every single year, and throughout the years, I was like, "Yeah, I still got a long ways to go, I still got a long ways to go," and then for it to finally happen, it was kinda crazy. But, as of next year, I hope to plan to play basketball somewhere, I don't know where yet, Like I said, I kind of tore my meniscus last summer during the live period, so that kind of fluctuated things. But I'll know for sure more after the season's over.
Fantastic. And what are your like your I don't say academic, your job hopes
Mhm.
and dreams, as well as complementing basketball?
I would say something in like the business and sports management.
Okay.
I love sports, and that's always kind of been a big part of me. And I kind of want to do something I love after high school and after the ball stops bouncing.
Awesome. Harrison and I will be your first client, so you can go ahead and get us on the roll. You get like 10%. That's before taxes. So, Nicole, how about you? You shared a little bit that you signed and you're going to go to Hastings College and pursue, be playing volleyball there for Coach Alex. But what other things are you looking for?
Yeah, I'm really passionate in like early education or just
Okay.
education in general. I plan to major in education or double major in special education. Up at Lincoln High, we've been doing a program where we're helping the special need kids get into like sports. So we've been doing like PE classes with them every single day. So that's definitely played a big role in like what I want to do in the future.
Oh, that's awesome. Like I said, I mean, honestly, you talked about representation, you talked about yeah, that early period, and that's kind of the most important piece. So, looking forward to seeing you back in Lincoln or wherever you're making that impact on education. As we get ready to go to break, I'm going to ask you all, what's 3 words or one sentence of advice that you would give in general to people that they just need to take with them from you? And we'll start with you, Nicole.
I'd say show up every day, whether that's at school, in the classroom, or just you want to get better at your sport. Show up every day, put in that work, and then the results are going to follow. So that's what I would say.
Love that. Love that. Go
Kind
ahead.
of following what she said is like the work will always show, and it doesn't even go far on the court. So it's like in the classroom, if you're struggling with math, if you keep practicing, um, the work will always show, and then result.
Hey, with that said, I want to appreciate both of y'all being here. Congratulations. I know your journey's not done. You still got